Good morning.
Good morning.
What's going on?
Am I first?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to take that as a good sign. Hey, Dave, real quick. How do you know the difference between trying too hard and not trying enough?
I think you're confusing two different things. So
Yeah.
trying, you can never try too hard. What you can do is create interference with your efforts. So, what we want to do is determine, I think if you have the ability to try that hard that you feel like you're trying too hard, what you're doing is creating interference instead of clearing the interference. And I think when you shift your paradigm or perspective to using your efforts to clear away the interference instead of creating interference, resistance, void, shortages, obstacles, accelerating in the wrong trajectory, you'll find that you have a huge superpower because of those efforts. And I see so many people succeed because they have that great fortitude, consistent, persistent behavior, and they start realizing, wow, if I use this towards clearing the interference instead of creating it, I'm going to have exponential results.
So the other version of my question that came to me this morning was knowing the difference between stop, drop, and roll, and maybe stop, drop, and denial, or stop, drop, and escape. Something that might make you feel better. You think it's raising your vibration, but the thing that's really bugging you doesn't seem to have shifted or changed, or is still just as big an issue.
I think then it becomes a matter of awareness of where that issue lies. So in the conscious level, it'll go away. In the subconscious level, it takes at least 21 days determinative upon what your own quantum, energy is. And if it's in that personality traits, characteristics, obsessions, and addictions, it could take lifetime. So you need to change once again your perspective from attaching your emotions to an outcome of getting rid of it completely to progress, not perfection.
Okay. I will listen to this several times today.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You got it, Dan. Thank
All right,
you.
have a good one.
You too. Thank you. Good questions.
Hi,
Oh, you
good
lost your
morning.
starting position. You lost the pole position. You got the indie guy take the pole position from you.
I know. So disappointing. Gosh, starting off.
Okay,
Just,
you know what? I got the top level starters, so it starts the race off right. Let's just put it that way. Those are two extraordinary questions. Anyway, go ahead.
they were. I was like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
So I watched Miracle on Friday night, the movie. And did you know that it's actually wolf? The legs it's the wolf. Legs feed the wolf. Because he's
It's
from
actually like,
Minnesota,
yeah,
which
it's
makes
like
sense.
yeah, I knew it wasn't exactly like I say. I like the legs feed the lion, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
something. It's not even the legs feed the wolf. It's like something
It was something,
different.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's where I got the idea from.
It was so good. And thank you so much I'm glad I asked you that because watching it again just got me all kinds of fired up. It was a great weekend.
Good.
So, and I hope you had a good Mother's Day with your family.
You too.
Thank you. I was thinking about your mom and being grateful for the don't trip on the roadblocks behind you. That has really made a huge impact because I tend to do that a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
So my question is surrounding moms. I have an amazing mama. Like my mother is the world's best. So she also has differing, when we talk about money, basically, a lot of stuff from what she was taught and what I was taught is coming through. But so as I'm currently working on my own limiting beliefs around money, when we talk, it just, it sparks that in me. So a lot, and also humbling myself to realize doing stop, drop, and roll like immediately, not like, the after. But what would be a good way to remain in my path of clearing the interference and also respecting where she's coming from too, because I respect my mom so much and everything that she tells me. I want to learn and absorb. So how do I have that balance?
Yeah, well, number one, I always look at the four things our moms want for us: that we're happy, healthy, appreciate, and love them. So institute those four things: that you're happy, healthy, appreciate, and love them. And then always after that, right, reminding yourself that, or even her, that you're happy, healthy, you appreciate her and love her. Then try to understand her. And it's okay to articulate, let me understand where you're coming from. So make her go through the process of, well, in my life, I didn't have enough of this, or I always wanted to have this, or I didn't have the opportunity to do this, and I want you to have this. And then you can say, oh, I get it. Well, just so you know, that's not what I want. Or let me think about that and see if that's something I want. Does that sound fair? We can resolve so many issues with our parents simply by, one, instituting happy, healthy, appreciate, love, two, understanding. And then if you don't come to a mutual discord, if it's not aligned with what she wants for you, then you can always just say thank you and pray for her happiness, and appreciate the fact that you want different things.
I think that's going to be very helpful. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks for watching that movie.
Yeah, it's so good. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Miguel, ¿qué pasa? Oh, gotta unmute yourself. The biggest problem of Zoom.
Wow. Yep. That's me. Sorry. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Just as one reference for Christina, I don't know if she's read it, but Get Out of Your Own Way, Overcoming Self-Defeating Behaviors, has an awesome 2 chapters on there about parents and how to work with them through different things. So, just a resource. My wife and I have found it very helpful.
Yeah, no, great resource. Thank you.
So my question for you, back to branding, personal versus business, so on and so forth. You sent me a message. You said focus on subsets. I just need to clarify what you mean, because I think I know what you mean, but I don't want to assume, because we all know what that does. So when I'm, trying to decide personal brand, and because my last name is so long, and, getting away from that, what exactly do you mean by use a subset to create the handles, the website, so on and so forth?
Yeah, so I'll use John Foley. He's one of my one-on-one clients. He's a Blue Angel. So he was trying to brand himself glad to be here. And I said, that's not how you brand yourself, right? That's a subset of John Foley, Blue Angel, college football player, right? That's a brand.
Okay.
And the subset is glad to be here. And you could have a website, glad to be here, but it has to have John Foley on it with Blue Angel pictures and maybe college football pictures or whatever it is. People don't distinguish between the two. So if you're going to brand yourself and then go ahead and create subsets that have, different domains or different products, solutions, or services.
Got it. Okay. I keep getting so stupid, really. I keep getting wrapped up in the whole, one brand holds everything, but it could be, like you said, I have multiple subsets. And so all the content just goes out on all the subsets, but it leads back to one direct brand, what you've been trying to say to me. Yeah. What you've been saying, I haven't been hearing you.
Yeah, it's not what I say, it's what you hear. So we'll get there, and everything takes time, but when you're ready for it, you'll hear it.
That's right. Cool. Thanks, Dave.
Cool. Thank you. Awesome. All right, Joey.
Hey.
Every time I see the name Joey, I had a friend from Boston, Joey Bag of Donuts. That's what they called him.
My old hockey coach used to call me that.
Really?
Yeah. Cool. Joey Bag of Donuts all the time.
That's so good. All right, good. I'm glad I'm not off.
No. What's happening? How are you? Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for joining me.
No, of course. So last week you told me to take inventory of my skills, knowledge, and desires and align those synergistically with what's doing well and what I can see myself in. So I did that. And I hit a roadblock a little bit at desires. And I've realized that oftentimes I've been torn. And I think emotion definitely hinders my ability to stay aligned and going in my decision making. But I try to work through it. And what I've come about is using my knowledge about what I think is going to happen. Now, this obviously may not, but I think in the financial area, I think that we potentially may be going through a period in the 30s and the 90s. And I don't know if I want to be invested in real estate and buying up land with a lot of people if I see interest rates potentially doubling. In addition to that, I don't know if my whole heart desire is building. And I think it's more of my family's, not mine. And me, myself, I am obsessed with sports. I've played them my whole life. So I contacted a couple of my friends that are in it, and I wanted their opinion on what they thought of me in terms of being in that. And they love it, and they can totally see me in it too. So I asked to reach out with a couple of their contacts in agency, and in addition to that, in potentially like seeing them open up charities with their own names and how they could be. And I think I want to go into that,
Into what?
into either being an agent, a hockey agent, or opening up charities for these people and multiple people in hockey specifically, and helping them run that or open that up for them.
Perfect.
How can
So,
I go about doing those two things?
all right, perfect. So you know your what, right? So this is a good case study. So you know your what, personally what you want, experientially what you want, giving wise what you want, and receiving
Mhm.
wise what you want. Now know your who. So you started to reach out. Now the key to being an agent is to get a client and keep one.
Yeah.
You can do both, by the way. You don't have to do one or the other. You can be an agent and facilitate the charities for athletes,
Okay.
specifically hockey players. So know your
Okay.
what, know your who, right? Know your how. Well, we know to get and be a hockey agent, you got to get a client and keep a client.
Yeah. But I'm not
And
ready for a client.
yeah, well, then you got to get the experience, right? Then you go back to the
Mentorship.
who. Then yeah,
Okay.
go, and I'll if you need introductions to a hockey agent too that you want to intern for or learn the business from, that's terrific. On the
Okay.
charity side, I also have introductions. Coaches Charity does charities for athletes, sets them up, administers them, helps to guide them and strategically align them with the best ways to raise money for the purpose or cause that means the most to them.
Okay.
So those are all. But the last thing I want to tell you is don't forget what Christina said, right? The legs feed the lion. You can do all three. The better you do at the real estate side, the more time and the more money you're going to have. The more time and money that you're going to have, the more options you're going to have. The more time, money, and options you have, more statistically successful you're going to become at being an agent and opening foundations for them and seeing where there's synergies, maybe even overlap between what you're doing today and sports itself, or sports agency itself, or sports charity, which are the three realms in which you're primarily looking at right now. So first step is know your who now, and go ahead and get that experience, understanding, aligning your desires with what you're doing today with what you want to do tomorrow. Does that sound fair?
It sounds fair. I like that. Appreciate
Awesome,
it.
Joey bag of donuts. Thanks, man.
All right. I'll see you next week. Ciao.
See you
And
next
good
week.
luck
Thanks.
everyone else. Ciao.
You got it. Take care. All right, the great Laura.
Good morning to you. How are
Good
you?
morning to you. How are you?
I'm good. So funny. Everything.
You and I got matching shirts on, but reversed.
Oh, do you have the Rangers on?
No, it's just blue and gray.
Oh, it's blue. Oh my goodness, you're right. We're twins. I love it. Well, and funny, hockey, right?
Hockey.
Right, hockey, as he was just talking about. And so, which also just works with, I'm on my phone, right? So I just did it on my phone, path of least resistance, right? And then I was so proud of myself yesterday. I made some notes because, no matter what time, I'm going to make sure Monday, Tuesday that I show up. And so I'm looking this morning and it's like my notebook all of a sudden is not where it was. I'm like, spirit is like moving shit on me. So I thought, you know what? Instead of panicking, like, right, let me just show up. And then that way it goes back to what you were saying, get out of my own way. Right.
Yep.
And I know what I wanted to say, which for today really is just that I'm just so grateful for just being a part of this group and you. And thank you for putting all of us together, because it's like the energy exchange is just, I feel like I've found my soul tribe, in a sense of like, I'm so used to being around, or just accustomed to, I should say, like energy vampires, and
Yeah.
it's great because like my mom was down here and she said, and I had her watch some of the stuff, right? And then, I introduced her to the Tuesday group, and then she goes, gosh, everyone is just so positive. It's just so amazing. So I just wanted to say good morning and show up and say thank you so very much. And I wanted to know, actually, real quick, I was going to save it for tomorrow, but I'm sure I can come up with another question. Did you reference me as a spiritual starfish? Did I hear
Yeah,
that
the spiritual.
correctly?
Yeah, yeah,
I love that. Can I use that? Is that okay?
yeah. Of course, you can use whatever we talk about. You can use. It's all yours.
You're so sweet. Well, thank you so much. You have a lovely day. I'll see you tomorrow.
I'm proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I
You're
appreciate that. It
awesome.
means the world.
You
Bye.
got it. Thank you. Awesome. Jesse, how you feeling?
Hi, good morning. I'm okay.
Good
I'm so
morning.
tired, so I turned off the camera. But thank you so much for being there for me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, you can call me anytime, and you know, it was really nice to speak with you. What can I help you with this morning?
So my question is, okay, so you know how I'm doing like the captain's course, and like, uh, she's there's a part where she gives us like limiting belief blaster where we have to like you know, write down, well, it's a lot of steps, but we have to write down like the seemingly positive benefits of holding on to a belief. So, like things that you like, they're definitely not benefits, but things that you in your head, unconsciously or unconsciously, like think it's best to hold on to a belief. Why is it that, like, and a lot of the patterns that I'm seeing with mine are like, oh, well, if I let go of this belief, then like I can't, then I won't, then I won't like, I don't know, suffer. Like that's one of the positive benefits, which doesn't make sense. It's sort of like twisted. But why is that with me and a lot of other people?
So, pain, suffering, mistakes, failures, setbacks are indicators. So, the reason that we suffer is so that we can learn and go to a bigger, better place, so that we can break through those limitations. And when we suffer, when we have pain, when we have these indicators that through the learning zone, we are now expanding, accelerating, and reaching closer to our potential, it's a good thing. It may hurt, but it's a good thing. And, the more practice we have at understanding suffering, pain, setbacks, mistakes, failures into a, a indicator, a turn signal, instead of seeing it as a limitation or a stop sign, the faster and sooner we'll get to that better place, that better position. I've never looked back on anything and said, "Oh man, that wasn't good for me." It's the workout analogy for me. Very rarely do I start a workout, especially as I'm 53 years old. Oh my God, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. But almost rarely do I end a workout saying, "Wow, it's always one of the best things, the best part of my day, the best I feel is after I'm done with the workout." Is there suffering, pain, resistance, limitations when I'm working out? Absolutely. But when I finish, I feel better. And that's the perspective that you want to take on the pain, suffering that you're going through, that you're going to end up in a better place, a better position, and that these are just indicators that you have something to learn. Does that sound fair?
Yeah. Okay. I'll rewatch it again too. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Good morning. Get a good wake
Bye.
up. Thanks, Jess.
Mhm.
Bye
Okay.
bye. Stevie P in the place to be. What's going on?
Hey, good morning. Everything is great. How are you?
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here and doing this at different times to help different people really
You
help
got it,
them.
man. What do you got for me?
All right. So last week, we kind of got cut off at the end, but you told me to take inventory of like the three big things that kind of get me all caught up in the needs of the ego. So I got a little bit of that. and that's been very helpful to identify these problems, right? And one thing that caught my attention is, your story of after you lost everything, and then you wanted to make money back, and you found a deal. I don't exactly remember what happened, but you found a deal where you could you could help somebody out with a transaction, right?
Yep.
And that made money back right away, real quick. And I heard that story, and right away my brain was like, okay, well, that's great for Dave, but it doesn't really apply for me. And I kind of shut off something in my head. So what's my problem? Why do I do that?
Yeah, well, look, in varying degrees, what you're telling yourself is, before I even try, I know what's best for me. Right? That's exactly what you said. If someone tells you, hey, I did this and it worked for me, before I even try, why would I say no? Right? What if the universe is full of infinite possibilities, who am I to determine which possibilities turn to probabilities, turn to my perspective? The minute we cut it off, the minute we say it's not for me, it's not a possibility anymore. It's the only time that something's not a possibility. You haven't taken advantage of the mathematical advantage of thought, which is the mathematical advantage of thought says I can take nothingness and turn it into possibility by thinking that it's possible. The minute you think something's possible, it is.
Right.
The minute you become inspired, I believe it becomes probable. Now you got to do the work through discipline, strategy, and awareness in order to effectuate the materialization of that probability. And
In awareness?
Yeah, discipline, strategy, and awareness are the three components that it takes in order to materialize a probability. Inspiration takes a possibility to a probability. That's clearing away the fear, like we were talking, the drop, and roll. So, but you're a rare species in this group. You cut yourself off before you even get to the possibility. At least give your chance to think about anything's possible. There's an infinite amount of possibilities. And then if I can become inspired, learn to love that, right? And have that skills, knowledge, desire aligned, clearing and interference, boom, it's a probability. Now you got to do the work. But I believe there's an infinite number of perspectives. If there's an infinite number of perspectives, that means there's an infinite number of realities. So possibility to probability, probability to reality. So I want you, for your homework this week, see how many times you cut off the nothingness to possibility. Forget about the probability. Just see how many times that you're, for whatever reason, past lives or your genetic makeup, that you just cut things off going, that's good for him, but that doesn't work for me.
Right. Yeah, that's the infinite capabilities of the universe, right? That you talk about.
Yep.
So me is saying yes to what the universe can offer.
Yep. You got it?
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch it. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks, Stevie P. Take care. All right. There he is. Went from Stevie P to Dr. B. What's your shirt say there, Dr. B?
What does it say? It says "Be your best."
I love
Dave.
it. I gave you a free commercial.
That's my logo, dude.
I love your logo, by the way, and I love your slogan.
Oh yeah, thank you.
It's the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. Be your best. I always say there's three things that you tell people. I learned this from coaching little kids.
Yeah.
Do your best, learn something, and have fun. Imagine if we can teach everybody in the world those three things.
That's nice. Yeah, I love it. Do your best, learn something, and have fun. Perfect. Great. Okay, so let's both do our best, learn something, and have fun.
All right.
Hey, what is a spiritual starfish? I never heard you say that before. What does that mean?
It's like an icon of spirituality, someone that has a great blend of the pragmatic world with the spiritual world, able to be, a starfish is super materialized, right? It's almost like what am I trying to think? Minerals. The slowest vibration is a starfish. You know, when you anything that's hard is vibrating slower. You
Right.
can't put your finger through a door.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, this anomaly of a spiritual starfish is something that is blending the slowest vibration with the highest vibration, existing on both planes.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I meant by it. I'm not sure if that's what everybody gets by it.
So wait, I have to tell you something. You can't put your finger through a door. One of my principal teachers, when I said something like that to a group of children, she came up to me at the end. She stuck her finger right in my face and she said, "You can't put your finger through a door yet," like that. She said,
love that.
"You closed off the possibilities for those children."
That's the lesson I just literally went through.
Isn't that
Right?
brilliant? Isn't
Yeah,
that
that's the lesson I just told Stevie P. Right?
Yeah.
I just limited myself. You're right.
Okay. All right. So here we go. So I've been advised to look to join boards because of age, experience, and interest. So what do you recommend that way? First, it's the recommendation was to just be a volunteer or advisory board or something. What do you recommend?
I always like to start on the advisory board and then move to, you know, the liable position of being a board of director.
Right.
The board of advisors is nice because it allows for alignment between you, the organization. You get to interact with the board of directors as well as the executives. It is still a prestigious title. It allows you to have, you know, better and more involvement, but it doesn't give you the liability of being on the board of directors. If someone's going to put me on their board of directors, now it becomes a position of compensation for me because I'm mitigating risk, timing, risk tolerance. And then two, on the board of advisors, the only thing I tell people, because I sit on a lot of them, is understand what the role and responsibility of a board of advisor member is. Usually when I set up board of advisors for companies, I make it as if there's one virtual meeting a year and one ask a year. Okay. And I believe in big boards of advisors with one ask and one in the rules and responsibilities.
Okay. And what's the liability with the board of directors? Because you're responsible for the
there's a lot of legal, you know, you're constrained with a duty. A board of directors, you know, can hire and fire the CEO. The board of directors has liability. They have duty to the shareholders.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and you could be sued.
Okay.
That's why they have E&O insurance and D&O insurance. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So yes, my other question had to do with I want to mount a course on test anxiety because, you know, I have all this the books and the stuff, and I want to mount an online course. I'd like to do it where I don't have to appear. You know, something to run itself. I mean, I will be on videos and things like that. Maybe have a questions Friday where people can ask me questions similar to what you're doing. I don't have any idea how to price this kind of thing, and where do I go with that?
Yeah. So one, genius. I would say as a father of 3 teenage daughters, probably the biggest school issue for us is test anxiety. My kids are 4.6 students and they care so much they have test anxiety. Wait
a minute, dude. I sent you a copy of my book. Are they reading it?
No, they don't read my books either. Don't be hurt. All right. So anyway,
believe me, I'm not hurt. Okay, let's get over.
Yeah. Anyway, so here's how we price everything. I hope everyone's listening. There's only 2 things you need to know when you price things. One, perceived value.
Yeah, right.
So the way we attain perceived value is ask other people, what would you pay for this? Mm-hmm. And what we think it's worth.
Okay.
Okay. So then we get, you know, $1,500 a year or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Then the only other thing you need to worry about once you know perceived value is what's the minimum you'll take.
The bottom line.
Bottom line.
Right.
Okay. And then you price it accordingly and go ahead and offer whatever you think is the perceived value and know your bottom line in case someone can't afford it.
Okay. So as the father of 3 kids, I'm not selling.
I got 4 kids. You have 3?
No, I don't know how many I have. So you as a father of however many.
Well, that's because you're so good looking. I can imagine there's no way you would know how many.
73 years old, dude. So
and you're still creating kids? What the heck? You and your brother.
Okay, let's get off this. So Dave, wait a minute. So I'm not asking the kids what they would pay because the kids are not paying.
Parents
who are paying.
Parents.
And parents are strapped because of everything that costs so much money. So when I say, how much would you pay for a course?
Well, now we're back to the limiting beliefs. Parents are
Okay.
strapped.
Yeah.
I say a third of the parents are strapped, a third of the parents are doing okay,
Okay.
and a third of the parents have a shitload of money and are wasting it on all kinds of bullshit.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So ask parents what they would pay for this kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Without any guidelines, just say, what would you pay for this?
Look, I have a test anxiety. I can raise your kids' test scores this much.
Yeah.
What is it worth to you?
Right. Okay. There you go. Good. Okay. Wait. So there was a question in here. Let me just see if I can pull it out.
See, the advantage of test anxiety class is it's just not SAT, right? It raises your grades,
no.
right?
No,
It raises your grades and
it's
right.
life schools.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I'm clear on that. Okay. There was another question. So, okay, give me the quick rundown on study your calendar.
My favorite. So studying your calendar changed my life. First, the word study to me means to pay attention to, give focus on, and give intention to what we think, say, do, and believe the activities, coincidences that we want. Right. Okay. So attention plus intention equals coincidence. I believe it's a mathematical equation of luck when we study something.
Right.
So to study our calendar is studying the activities we have planned, the activities we don't have planned, and our sleep. And I think, we study those things with the lens of productivity.
Okay.
Meaning how much value, service, what are we going to provide? A lens of accessibility.
Okay.
How accessible are we to others? And how are we accessing what we want? And then a lens of gratitude. Are we capable of finding the light, the love, and the lessons in all the activities? See, most people see things as work or as vacation or as play. I see things differently. I see them as activities we have planned, don't have planned, or sleep. And I see it as activities we get paid for or don't get paid for. Regardless, I'm not going to do it unless I can find some sort of lesson in it, some sort of light in it, or love in it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So quickly back to the parent question. I realized what I wanted to ask you. I want to provide this course for kids who can't pay, whose parents don't have the money, who they never could see a person like me because they just don't have it. But their kids are as well deserving as your kids or as any other.
So stop it. Everybody listen to me right here. This is what you call a mensch, right? This guy, he's beautiful soul. He has the greatest intention in the world, but nobody's given him the pragmatic way to help people. Correct. Because anybody in the world that gives me that bullshit, oh, I want to do a business, but I want to do it for people that can't pay. You're not going to have a business. So listen to me, Dr. B, my brother. Go charge all the fucking rich people. There's a movie called Robin Hood. There's a book too. Listen to me. Go charge all the motherfucking rich people and then give it away to the poor kids. You facilitate it. There's plenty of rich people out there that are doing extremely well. Yeah. And they have rich kids that are paying a fortune to go to college. Colleges aren't going broke even with the pandemic. Right. There's assholes like me paying $83,000 a year so the kid can go virtually to some ridiculous party every single week. Go charge motherfuckers like me and go give it to those kids. I'm dead serious. Sorry for using bad language. I got a little Gary Vee on this, but I'm so emotional about this because there's so many good people out there that don't know how to help people.
So what was I saying differently that prompted this little tirade? I mean,
because you were like, I'm not really, I just want to help. I want to sell it to people that can't afford it. I want to help the kids. That doesn't work.
Right.
And even before that, your energy was people aren't doing well. No, go sell the people that are doing well and give it to the people that aren't doing well.
Got it. So
is that fair?
Yeah. It's not only fair, it's good advice. Dave, Oracle. Okay.
I love you, and I love your logo and your slogan.
I love you too. Be your
Thank you, man.
What else are you going to be? Okay, see you later.
Your best. That's it. Thank you. You're awesome. Have a great day. Little Meltzer tirade. That's a ferocious Buddha. Very rarely does the Buddha get ferocious, but that's what he looks like when he's ferocious. What's up, Todd?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Good.
I was just about to say, Dr. B, way to get him worked up.
Yeah. Well, gosh, man, so many people are trying to do the right things the wrong way.
Yeah, so that's a good segue into what I'm doing, because when I launched my new brand, I wanted to benefit my foundation. So I want to know kind of the framework on how to go about that off the start. and make sure it's not like, I don't want to say like a portion of the proceeds go to. This is like going to be my main driving focus on what I'm doing. I want the brand to succeed because I want to help these kids. I want to help kids in the world.
Yeah. So determine the percentage that you would like to give to the charity and determine how you're going to give it. So is it going to be that percentage of cash towards it, or are you going to build shelters, or are you going to give tennis shoes, or what are you going to be able to do with that money? But it's a very simple equation. You're going to make money, and a percentage of that money that you make is going to help your foundation. You need to determine what that money is going to do, and then represent that with your brand and market it.
Got it. Hey, I hope your wife had a good Mother's Day yesterday.
Thank you. She awesome. Yeah.
Okay, one of the things I wanted to talk about was I've got like 6 different endeavors that take my time, but I don't feel I've got 0 anxiety. I feel like everything is on the right track. Everything is doing well. Is there anything you can say to that as far as like
just lean in. If things are going well, lean in, make them go better. They can always do better. You can always take on more. Lean in. So,
kind of like playing golf when you're on a roll, and you want to keep it on a roll instead of like getting scared.
Yeah, no, leaning in is the best way to keep it on a roll.
Okay, cool. Last thing is sales. As a magazine publisher, I do a lot of advertising sales, which results in a lot of no's, as you know. But more so, I want to know how to not get affected by people that don't or hardly ever respond.
Right. So I teach, to practice getting people to respond. I think that's the easiest way to increase our sales is increase the number of people that actually respond to us, because 80% of the people don't respond. So imagine if you can increase that 10% and you get 8 extra people a week responding. Imagine what that would do for your sales over a course of a year or 2 years or 10 years. And so people don't take the time to really think about, how do I get people to call me back, email me back, DM me back, respond. And so what I want you to do for this week is think about just that. All I want is someone to respond. I don't need to sell them. I don't need to educate them. I see people all the time, completely creating resistance, void shortages, and obstacles because they're trying to sell on an answer machine or an email or on a voicemail or on a DM. They're trying to sell. No, your only objective is to get them to respond. Once you have the respond, then you could transition interest, then you could share a vision, and then you're 20% done when they say, yeah, I'm interested. Now you got the 80% to manage and develop that vision through a go, no go plan.
And you just be tenacious all the time without worrying about you're going to piss them off because you're contacting them too much.
I don't know, what your mindset is about, why that would piss them off any more than you trying to sell them on an email or on a, I don't see why that would piss them off, getting them to respond.
I guess the frequency of it,
I didn't say anything about frequency. I said practice getting them to respond. So if you have a shitty way of, yes, it will piss someone off if you have a shitty way of corresponding with them because they don't want to respond. That's going to piss them off. If you get a better email, phone call, system, DM, whatever it is to get them to respond, it's not going to piss them off. They're going to respond. You won't have to send them more than one.
I'll work on that for sure.
Cool. Right on, Todd.
Hey, have a great weekend, bud.
You too. Enjoy. Thank you. All right, everyone up there. And once again, I hope everyone's had a great Mother's Day. Jonathan, what's going on, man?
Hey, Dave. How's it going?
Amazing. Thank you.
You guys have a good Mother's Day?
Amazing. How about you?
Really good. Really, really good.
Good.
Lot of basically whole day around my wife, 4 kids, and just we had a good time. So I know you've got that's cool. I've got 2 questions for you. I'm building this venue management business. You gave me amazing advice last week about standardizing my offering. Not last week. It was like maybe 2 weeks ago. About standardizing my offering around the commonalities that the current businesses that I'm running. That was wonderful advice. The 2 questions I have now are around pricing. First question is, how would you structure pricing? I've done it kind of two ways. One is kind of a cost plus model where I'm showing them how much it's going to cost to run their venue and then showing them my fee, like a retainer. The other model would just be building my fee into the cost of each line item. I know that sales are an emotional decision a lot of times. And I also know that when people look at the invoice, or the proposal rather, they're looking at, okay, it's going to cost this much. And that number can seem big. Spread out over a year, it's not that big. Even spread out over a month, because they're really looking to grind their expenses down, and they see me as an expense. So which one do you like better? The where it's my fee is very clearly spelled out, or where it's a little bit more ambiguous what I'm charging, but it's there?
Just ask the client, right? We don't give the client enough credit, right? We just elevate our credibility by explaining to the client, how would you like my proposal? Cost plus, or you want me to build in the costs? What do you like better? Or both? It's just math, right? You're going to provide the value. You're going to charge them the same thing. It just elevates your credibility by being above the game and telling a client something they rarely ever hear, which is, how do you like to see the price? The price is the price. You're going to have your asking price and your bottom line price, and you're going to give him, cost plus or embedded cost. And why not ask them what they like and then present it in the manner in which they best receive it, and then gain credibility by being transparent with what you're trying to do.
I like that. Yeah, I love the advice you gave about the two things about pricing, right? The perceived value and the bottom line. So I wrote that down too. That tied in nicely.
Good.
The other part the other question that I had was, a lot of venue owners that I'm approaching are older and maybe more mature in their businesses, or maybe they're using this venue as a retirement plan, or as a, generally they're just a little bit older because it's a bit more expensive. And this is just in my experience. I know there are younger venue owners, but in my experience, the people who I'm approaching are a bit, they've had some experience in business, and they often are not on Clubhouse or Instagram, Snapchat. A lot of them are on Facebook, but they're not spending an awful lot of time there. They are kind of other places. Do you have any recommendations for connecting with more folks who are not on traditional marketing channels?
Yeah, find out where they are. Well, those aren't traditional, by the way, right? Traditional marketing channels are TV, radio, and print.
Okay.
Those are digital. Those are newer. Traditional means older. So, so find out by talking to the clients that you have what they're using.
Okay.
Right. Really, don't just guess, right? Because there's a growing number of people, that are using Instagram or Snapchat or whatever they're using. Clubhouse. Clubhouse is tiny, right? So, I mean, so tiny. If you think about the number of users that Clubhouse has compared to Instagram or Facebook, you'd be wasting your time. You should be more specific. But ask them. Let them tell you.
Got it.
There may be like like a industry magazine, or especially those old guys been getting something. Like in the sports world, there's the Sports Business Journal. If I was going to go out after a sports career, the Sports Business Journal is the best in the world, but most people have never heard of it. And they're wasting money on Instagram and Facebook, etc. But all the traditional owners of teams, front office people, agents, they all read the Sports Business Journal every day. They're probably something like that for venue owners that are traditional.
I got to find my Sports Business Journal.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, I was just going to say thanks. I'm rereading your book, Game Time Decision Making.
Cool.
Gold. I appreciate you, Dave. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Cool. All right. Roman's been warming up, checking out his teeth. What's going on?
Morning, Dave.
I check out my teeth all the time, and I had a pretty smile like that.
Wow, this is so cool actually talking to you.
Right on. What's going on?
I think well, thank you for your time, and thank you for inviting me on here.
Of course. Love having you.
I think just to stay focused, my one question would be, like, just in person, the same question I've asked you on my DMs, and that is, now that I'm like really realizing the importance of time, and I'm doing my college classes, it's not so much my passion. Like, I really do want to go to acting school and to become an artist, but I'm taking my business finance classes for the, I don't want to say backup plan, but more of the secure side of, it's more of like a secure pathway for my future career. And I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I think changing your perspective a little bit, right? I went to law school and then took the bar, even though I didn't need to when I got into technology, because I was not only mitigating risk, but I was also improving myself. And you never know how business and finance complements the art and creativity and the acting that you do. So many people that go into that space don't have the business acumen, and then when they're successful, they get taken advantage of. And I always say my law degree, the best thing about my law degree, and when I paid for it as $100,000, is that it saved me millions of dollars of legal fees.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It has nothing to do with me practicing law, but I made a wise investment at $100,000 over my lifetime. Now, I graduated 30 years ago or 29 years ago. Easily I've saved more than I spent to go to law school just on saving money and bills, let alone all the other business acumen that I learned. So you don't need to separate things. You don't need to see it either or. What you should do from the inception is see how they are complementary, synergistic, and supplementary to one another, how people in your space and industry and career utilize finance, utilize the things that you're learning. So as you're taking these courses on both sides, look to see where the synergies, the supplemental things in alignment are, so that you can maximize what you're learning and also distinguish yourself within the space that may actually be a reason or an impact or a capability that provides you more opportunities than others.
Okay. Wow, you worded it really smooth.
Cool. Awesome, Roman. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Take care. Thanks for waking up early. Take care.
Yeah, definitely.
Right on. Cool. Maximilian. What's up?
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Amazing. Thank you. How about you?
Doing pretty well, man. I wanted to give you just a pretty cool update, but then I had 3 questions for you that I'm really interested to hear your opinion on. So I'll just breeze right through it. So it was like a couple of weeks ago, maybe now, where I was asking you for some insights on the golf space as it related to my cousin's sports betting company, Prize Picks, in the DFS world. And I think, the sort of community where I think I can effectively capture these quote unquote whale bettors that I was asking about within the golf world was the charity tournament angle. I had a chance to attend, one of these like really bougie sort of up and coming charity tournaments that really, I think, checked off a couple of boxes from a validation standpoint of why that's a really fantastic venue to try and scale our efforts in. And I have one question as it relates to that. And then I'll go into my other 2. When it comes to that type of venue, a high-end charity tournament, do you have any just quick sales advice that you would provide me with as it relates to post-tournament converting some of these, higher-end folks into, bettors on our platform and doing that in the right gentle way or maybe aggressive way? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, first, don't forget it's a numbers game. You want to make sure that if you're utilizing that type of experience, you want to make sure you get the data. And with the data, you want to stimulate interest from them by utilizing the emotional tie they had to the tournament or to golf in order to effectuate transitioning that interest into the quantitative value that you can articulate to be greater than what you're asking for, which is a shared vision. But the key component that most people forget is they try to do this hodgepodge instead of strategically and disciplined and making sure that preemptively they get everyone's data so that they can learn and live through a strategy that has statistical success.
Got it. Cool. Awesome. The other 2 questions I just had for you was, so number 1, There's a former university president of like one of the largest universities in Latin America who recently moved to Miami. He's now trying to get a job in the private sector. He's taken a liking to my public speaking, my workshops that I do, and is sort of, you know, in a couple of weeks I know him, presenting himself a little bit as like a power sponsor of mine, which is really exciting. He seems to think that there's like a really interesting way for me to apply my story, my workshops that I do in a university setting, whether that's like, you know, an MBA class, teaching an actual class, creating like an actual formal case for students to work through as it relates to my hoverboard story. And I'm just curious, like, do you have any, based on, you know, what you know about me and where I'm at in the early portion of my public speaking career, do you have an opinion on, you know, the university speaking landscape and where or what might be the right mold to try and fit myself into, if at all, in that world?
Yeah, we'll start speaking in that world, right? So every time you have an opportunity, whether you're doing something with a school or around a school, in person or virtually, start speaking and it'll evolve. I've been offered, I was an adjunct professor at UCI Law School because I spoke there. And, you know, they recommended me in there. But I probably, my first year, spoke at 100 schools while I was traveling around years ago, sports programs, business programs, entrepreneur programs, legal programs.
Yeah.
And I just started speaking and everything else evolved from there.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just get yourself in the freaking door and
Yep.
crush it. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. That's easy enough. And that's all I need there. The other question I had for you was, as it relates to one of my clients on the consulting front, it's an international CPG toy company out of Europe. You know, that's a space that I really embrace and love. I've been working with them for over a year now. We've been doing great work together. They're at a little bit of a pivotal moment right now as it relates to, you know, basically a decent amount of inventory right now stuck on a container at the customs border, waiting to get released because of silly bureaucratic logistics paperwork bullshit, right? And my question to you is like, you know, for the last 4 months, you know, I've been, one of my experiential values that I've been studying, you know, on a day-to-day basis is, you know, a value out of my hoverboard story, telling myself, you know, to always have enough inventory, you know, prior to launching a CPG company, right? Because that was an issue of mine that I faced. And although like, you know, this container getting stuck at the border, waiting for it to get released is, you know, pretty much out of my control. It's not something that I do for the business. I, you know, sell the product and do a good job of that. I guess like my question to you would be is like, I've got this experiential value that is now like, you know, countering, unfortunately, in the wrong way. It's like potentially happening again. There's a delay here with this inventory coming in. I'm just curious, like, you know, what would you say to me about that? Obviously, like, it's not apples to apples, but there are some interesting parallels. And I just don't know if you've ever approached that where it's like essentially there's a mistake happening again, even though you didn't necessarily cause it or have much, you know, grip on it.
No, well, you don't have grip on anything. So it's just timing and risk tolerance. When you're talking about inventory control, there's timing and risk tolerance. So how much inventory to hold is your question. And there's multiple possibilities. This is just one of them that has reoccurred, but there's multiple ones. So you just have to make sure that you're okay with your timing and risk tolerance and the amount of inventory you're holding. Because if you were holding more inventory, you wouldn't care that it was delayed, but you're not willing to take that risk. So you got to get comfortable with your timing and risk tolerance within the context of your business, and then realize that there's multiple things that can happen for inventory delays.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's weird because like the company's been around for 8+ years. They've shipped product countless times into the States, right?
I get it.
Yeah.
I got the same problem with my books. So, you know, so managing expectations on shipping, even, you know, extending that out, it's all about timing and risk tolerance and working from there.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
You got it, brother. Good job. Thanks, Max. All right. Last but not least, there she is.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's the good deal today?
Actually, so considering all of the shit that happened last week, I am definitely a testament to this shit works, because besides my back and my mom's surgery, my computer and my cutting machine shit the bed last week, and I just replaced them like no problem, which 2 years ago would have been like crushing. And then James or Sebastian got the chicken pox. Like, who freaking gets the chicken pox anymore? Especially in quarantine. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this. He's fine. He's not even acting sick, but it's just the only place he goes is to the grocery store. So I'm guessing that's where he got it. Anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there that it was definitely a whirlwind of a week and I'm fine, which is amazing. So my question is, I've tried to connect with a couple different people to get information on the disability stuff, and it's not working out. And I'm kind of following your 3-no rule with that and figuring maybe it's just not the right time. Not that it's not going to happen, but not the right time. And going to take a different approach and just see how many like contracts I can line up and then just make the jump and hold my breath.
Yeah.
Breathe. I don't know what else.
Breathe.
What?
Always breathe. Don't hold your breath.
Well, yeah, I don't know what else to do at this point because I feel like if I just keep waiting and waiting and waiting, like it's just not, things aren't going to happen. So my question is, I've got my list of contacts to cold call and, you know, the reasons and impacts and capabilities, but the part that I'm missing is like the emotional attachment part, because I'm making something that's a little bit more expensive because it's handmade that lots of other companies make super cheap, like screen printing companies. And I found a few differences, like minimums, like I don't require a minimum, that as far as, and my capabilities are a little bit different because I'm more flexible, but the emotional attachment is the part that I'm having trouble with. And I'm wondering if you were selling like a product like I'm making, which is basically just promotional wear, but handmade, how would you position that like with the emotional connection part of it?
Well, number 1, American made business. 2, woman business. 3, small business. All the different components why people would support you. And then also on the features and benefits side, those appreciative differences that you listed out about customized timing, minimums, combined with the unique aspect of what people want to support today and are willing to pay extra for, especially during COVID. So that's how you get the emotional attachment.
Is there a specific like group of people do you think I should be targeting that would appreciate that?
The people who support small businesses, the people who support women-owned businesses, the people who support, you know, the Etsy users. You know, there's a bunch of things that are aligned with what you're doing, and you can find those people quite easily.
Okay, so I just need to do a little more research and digging.
You got it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Happy Mother's Day. Great session, as always. Sorry about the profanity, but Dr. B got me fired up. The ferocious Buddha came out. The spiritual Starfist, the energetic enigma, this articulate alligator. He's here, willing to help you, but I apologize for the profanity. No reason to offend. But I got fired up, and my team loved it because they see the ferocious side of the Buddha every once in a while, especially Matt when he doesn't make his bed. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Have a great day. I'm going to go work out. Take care. Articulate alligator. You got it, Mikey. Thank you. See you next week. Take care.